Mama, what if success starts with surrender, not striving? In today's conversation with Stephanie from the Gracing Cart, we talk about faith, giving yourself grace, and building a business that honors both your family and your boundaries. If you're in a season of learning how to slow down and trust God, this one's for you. Hey mamas, welcome back to Mamas Building Businesses. Today I am so excited for the conversation that I'm going to have with Stephanie Rodriguez. She is a mother to three, a homeschooling mama, and the owner of an amazing charcuterie business located not too far from me in Pennsylvania. Stephanie, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So tell us, for somebody who has never met Stephanie before, who are you as a mom, a wife, a business owner?
Okay. All right. I'll try to condense that. So wow. First of all, I'm a believer, all right? I'm a Christian mom entrepreneur, and I started off my journey as very career oriented. I have my background is criminal justice and Spanish. That's my degree. And transitioned into a stay-at-home mom once my firstborn was born, and today have a mobile charcuterie uh, business that my husband built the cart.
Which is so cool. It's so cool that you have a handy husband because you were
Yeah.
going to just order a cart, right? You told
Yes,
me
I
the story
was.
a
I
little
don't.
bit, so share with us how that happened.
Absolutely. So okay, so I joke about this because as I was in a season of life for a long time of like asking God for my purpose, right? As a homeschooling mom, it's not an easy journey, especially if it's not something that you envision yourself doing. I was talking to a friend who had told me that in a previous podcast that was her dream. Like she knew before she even had kids, I want to homeschool. I'm like, girl, like that was far from my idea. I was running away from that, running away from the stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom. But God had other plans, and so my random scroll on Instagram seeking a purpose, right? I came across this mobile charcuterie cart, and it just kind of like, oh wow, like I could do this. I could do this in the season of life that I'm in, homeschooling, and I could socialize and make some income, and then I could be flexible with that. I could still be present with my kids, and I could still schedule it around sports and life and school. So it was a very like busy season with sports and with school and with my husband's schedule. He has a swing shift. So I felt bad asking to do the cart. But at the same time, like he's a carpenter by trade. And I felt like it meant more, especially after I felt that my daughter needed to be part of it as well, of the business. And I just didn't it just didn't make sense for somebody else to like make the cart. It had to have his touch, it just was more meaningful. And of course he said yes. It just took like it took longer, right? In the
Yeah.
season, but yeah, it's much appreciated.
That's incredible. And it does, it makes it more special. So okay, you are very, very busy. So you have three kids and they're like middle school, junior high, high school age, right?
Yeah.
And they're homeschooled, but they're very, very active in sports. Plus, you run your business and you have your daughter involved. So, what does that look like day to day for you? Like, how do you balance all of that and make time, still time for like we were just talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
We're recording this guys right after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, and we were talking about Christmas and how, we kind of get spread thin in between different sides of the family. So, what does day to day, how does that look like? What does that look like for you?
I'm still trying to figure it out. um at first, I mean, my husband, he's my anchor, besides God himself, but um he is hands-on. Like I said, he has a really weird schedule, but we make it work on his days off, kind of maximize that time. Um spend that family time together, or I schedule some of my meetings and my events based on his days off, and that allows that flexibility. And also just having grace within, like, in the season, like being okay with saying no to some business opportunities, or even a social gathering, whether it's for the kids or myself. It's being okay with saying no at times. I had to turn down three. I shifted. I also offer like a mini pancake bar, which is like really exciting. Um, and it was pretty popular, and there was a couple people that reached out to me about booking it, but for some reason it all fell under all the tournaments that my son has this coming year, and I had to say no. But be okay with that, not be so obsessed with, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna fail in my business because I said no. No, it's okay. Like, be understanding of the season that you're in, and being able to balance family and work and all that.
How long have you had your business now?
We started in, I would say the first official event was in June. The soft launch was in May.
Of 2025?
So yeah, this year. Yep.
Okay, I thought it was very new. The reason why I asked that is because hearing you talk about like boundaries and sometimes having to say no, uh I think that it is so inspiring
Mm,
that you are doing that and able to do that because for my with my own experience and also with a lot of business owners that I have worked with over the years, a lot of people don't really learn how to implement boundaries until much further into their business. And
mm,
I think it really speaks to like the support system and just your own faith that you are
absolutely.
able to separate what is most important. So
Yeah.
I think that's so incredible because I know for myself, when I first started my business, I was so afraid, and this is absolutely for anybody listening, the wrong way to do things. But I think I was so afraid to turn down business out of
Mm,
like disappointing people, but more so like the desperation and like not wanting to give up
right,
the money when I was trying to build.
right.
So for you, I mean, it's just always like these are my priorities and you're very steadfast in that. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly inspiring.
Thank you. I honestly, if I track back to this day, like, uh, from a homeschooling to being a stay-at-home mom to being an entrepreneur, none of these things I had envisioned, right? You never feel qualified for the position that God calls you to into. But the thing is, he knows what you're capable of, and he knows the season that he's going to call you into it. And I believe that. And I was talking to a friend and my accountant yesterday. We had a meeting, and I was like, I I needed the income, and I also needed the space to, like, have that outlet to socialize and to just use the gifts that God has given me. And from the beginning of this journey, it was always this step in faith. Like, the idea was there. I felt like, okay, the doors are opening, and I don't know I don't know my next client. I don't know where the business is going to come from, but it's been just stepping, even if it's a slow progress, like, just stepping forward in faith and allowing God to do the rest, because I'm not obsessing. Like, the forefront of the business is not like, I need a client, I need a client, I need this, I need that. I'm operating from a kingdom's perspective, and operating that God is the one that's going to provide, and that not every opportunity is supposed to be taken. And not operating for that scarcity mindset. Like, okay, I had to turn this one down, but I know God is going to provide, because the idea behind the business is not just the income, is also the impact that I'm making in my community and other people.
Yeah, that's, and I think it's so important to stay grounded in that. because
Mhm.
I learned, I would say that I learned that lesson the hard way personally. Like I had the only in years of owning my business, I really only had, I would say, two clients that I like ultimately I ended up firing them. But if I think back, I I knew like from the beginning, I had like this unsettling feeling about
Mhm.
them and probably should not have worked with them.
Mhm.
And you know, I do think there is a like trusting, I call them God whispers. Some people call it intuition, like when you get that feeling. And I think it goes both ways. Like I think when you either have an unsettling feeling or like I need to prioritize this, right? That you listen to that. And on the
Mhm.
flip side, when it comes to like you said, we never feel qualified. We never feel ready. But when something is put on your heart, also trusting that. Like it was put on your heart for a reason and if
Yeah,
you are obedient, like a way will be made, right?
absolutely. And like I said, I never felt qualified in any area of my life in a sense, besides actually getting my bachelor's degree. I'm like, okay, like I'm qualified, to go into the criminal justice field. Um, but I do want to highlight too that the journey was shifting the mindset like of me, it's about me. It's about what I thought I was qualified for. And to then shifting it to surrender and allowing God to lead me into what it was that He has called me to be. And it's not easy. Like when I look back, I'm just a testament of what God could do if we surrender ourselves and our plans to Him. Um, because I, if you told me, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago that this is where I would be, I would just laugh. Like, there's no way, there's no way. But it's a part of the journey is surrender, knowing that God has bigger and better plans than you could even imagine.
And it is funny because when we sort of finally relinquish control, life turns
Mhm.
out very differently. I feel like that was my experience, like very differently than what you anticipate. I mean, even when I think like 2 years ago, what I thought my life would look like compared to now, and it's so interesting. And another thing that I don't know if you have felt this in any area of your life. So this could be in business, this could be in homeschooling, but one thing that I've also noticed is when I focus more on like other people, the impact, right, piece. So whether it's your children, whether it's your customers,
Mhm.
a lot of the insecurities go away. And I
Mhm.
heard a business, like a pretty prominent like business leader say this recently, and they're like, everybody deals with insecurities, but they're very like we don't like to admit it because we're like, oh, I'm not like a self-centered person, but insecurities are very like when we're worried about ourselves. That's when we're worried like, what are people going to think about me? How do I look or how do I sound? But when you really focus on like who am I here to serve? Who am I here to impact? Who am I here to like with our children, it's our responsibility to mold them up and send good people out into the world, right? We were just talking about like kids getting older. Um, and when we focus on that, a lot of those things that hold us back, they really aren't as prevalent. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, with the business, and it's easy to feel insecure and not qualified when you're um if you try to compare yourself to Instagram reels and Facebook posts and all that stuff. And you're never gonna feel like you're enough or secured enough in your calling, I want to say. But um that's where the answer lies though. It's your calling, it's nobody else's. You know, I was called to be the owner of the Gracing cart, not anybody else. So I look at, and that was the other thing too in business. And I might be like, when I talk about this and to other business owners who have been in business for a while, um, and I don't know if you've experienced this or encountered this, is I speak, I guess, naively, being new to business. It's like, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. And sometimes, like, the faces some people make, the
Yeah.
reaction is like, girl, you haven't been in business long enough. But to me, it's like, I know where I stand. I know where I'm grounded. I know who holds my business. And if if you want to compete against me, that's fine. I'm actually coming alongside of you and like supporting you. There's a lot of people that I follow in my own area that I follow, I comment, I encourage, and I don't see them as a threat. I don't see them as competition. On the contrary, I see it as like I could be that light, I could encourage them. And then in return, they're gonna be like, there's something different about this girl.
Yeah.
First of all, she's stalking me. And like, but most importantly is they're gonna get to see what God is doing through me in the business. And I just hope that that ministers to them. And it's beyond just the cart, it's beyond the business, is the calling.
That's, it's so funny you say that. And I think this world and our society has really made people hesitant of like genuine support, right? With like no strings attached, because I will tell you, excuse me, now that I have a little bit of a community built up, it's a
Mhm.
little different. But when I first started reaching out to people, business owners, about, excuse me, about this community and like interviewing them, they I felt hesitancy. I felt some resistance, like in the sense of like, well, what are you going to try to sell me? I actually had a couple of business owners when I met
Mhm.
with them for coffee, they straight up were like, well, like, how are you monetizing this? Like, what are
Mhm.
you charging? You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's a business. So I'm not bothered by those questions. But
Right.
I think that, like, they were very hesitant to just be like, oh, she wants to put me on a platform and like she doesn't want anything from me and she doesn't want to sell anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, no, I really believe, and you and I talked about this when we first met. I really believe that this is my purpose, and I'm a very big believer. It took me some time to arrive here. It definitely took me some, mindset work, and just I always say being a business owner is like way more spiritual growth, in my opinion, than it is like business skills.
Yes, yes. I was listening to a podcast yesterday and I mentioned it to my friend regarding and she's a Christian podcaster who pretty much walked away from all social platforms and builds a multi-million dollar business without social media, which is hard to believe in these times, right? Because you're pretty much like told like you need social media to build your business.
Mhm.
But God, right? But God used it in a different way. Um but one of the things that the podcaster said was that God is more interested in what he's building in you than the business that he's building. And you're right, like it's such a personal growth if you allow it to be, right? Because we could get so caught up in noise that we just keep going. But I definitely have seen that shift. And I think if you allow that and you allow that surrender is when God is able to then use you. When we continue to hold on to things and think that we just have it all figured out, and um, it's just gonna take longer, because God wants it's just He wants better for you, and sometimes we think that we know what is better, but in the journey, He's removing the things that do not belong to take you into that next season. And I'm stripping away things that you cannot take into the next season where he wants to use you. And that's definitely what this year has been about. And it's a continuous journey. He's not done with me. Like, I haven't arrived yet. I haven't arrived. This is just the beginning.
I definitely I kind of feel like I don't know if we ever arrive.
Nope.
Like the whole thing is a journey. I actually saw something yesterday and posted it on Facebook that said um it said something along the lines of, the best part of achieving your goals is not necessarily the goals, but who you become in the process. Like very
Mhm,
similar. And I think for me, the big mindset shift that I came to that has allowed me to just kind of release financial worry and take the time to do this without having uh, like some sort of paid program is I'm very, very much a believer that if you follow your purpose, right,
mhm,
then you're going to be provided for. And
mhm.
and obviously like we have to be smart and we have to put things in place
Right.
and we have to, learn how to like even when you are giving back, like learning how to manage that, right? So that your family is still provided for. But I'm a very big believer that if you follow your purpose, like the money
Yeah.
follows. You don't have to worry about that part. You have to worry about what you were called to do. And
Right.
so it's it is it is a spiritual growth journey. I always tell people like I think a lot of people think, "Oh, if you learn all of these business skills, you'll be successful in business." And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, the skills are important, but like are you willing to stretch yourself? Are you willing to be super aware? Are you willing to, kind of face your own the areas where maybe you lack
Yeah.
and you have to, get better or so anyway, it's a largely spiritual journey and so you mentioned that you wanted to get your daughter involved in the business. So how old is your daughter and how have you gotten her involved in your business?
So she's 12 and she's my only daughter. That's the cart is named after her. Which is funny because again, like once I just in faith move forward, like the name came to me, the just doors were opening. And so one of the things, like when I said that, and literally it came within seconds, I was like, Holy Spirit, like, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, okay, and we're moving forward with this cart, what should I name the cart? Like what? And Grace, like my daughter's middle name is Grace, so I did a wordplay, grazing, like a grazing table and gracing, so so it's called the gracing cart, and I don't know, I just felt like this was a perfect opportunity for us to just bond and build something together, and I'll be honest, and I'll just summarize this a little bit because it's something I haven't shared. Oh my gosh, and I probably shouldn't. um, you know, I wanna be transparent as well because while the journey was like, wow, I've been waiting for this for years, for God to open doors in a direction where He would use the gifts and talents and the calling. But as I joked with some of my friends and I said, I prayed for this season, but I didn't pray for other things that were coming alongside of that. And one of the things was my daughter's health. So, oh my gosh. So I was entering a season of answered prayers. Um, her health was being attacked, and just we spent time and um, it was just I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Oh
Don't
my god,
apologize. And
I
I'm a
cannot take
crier,
minutes talking
so
about this.
yeah, no,
Ah,
it's okay.
so this is a journey that it's kind of like it's personal, it's behind walls. But it's something to highlight as well because, you know, only because God is answering prayers doesn't mean that things are going, 100% and everything is all, a field of roses. And so during this season that we're still in, it was um just a lot of unanswered questions regarding my daughter's health. And it started another journey on top of the business journey. It started a journey of relying even more on God and his sovereignty and his faithfulness, that while we do not know exactly what's going on, that he is the healer, he is the provider, he is faithful in every season. And one of the things, when we were praying at church, there was this couple, and as she was praying for us and for our daughter, she goes, God hears your prayer and he's gonna answer it. You just gotta be patient. And like, how much more patience do you need from me, God? um, so I share this because, like I said, I want to be transparent. I want to be transparent in this journey, that part of that God is interested more about building you than building the business. He's building our faith in this journey. And he's also strengthening my daughter's faith as well, and her reliance on him, and his healing over her life. But just also drawing near to him during this season, and another chapter of surrender, that he loves and cares for her more than we ever could, right? And he sees the hurt, and we know that he's going to heal her. It's just, now it's just been that journey of unanswered questions, and um taking a different route, working with the doctors, but then also seeking other natural um things, like a functional medicine doctor, which adds more, and again, I could say, you know what, okay, now I need to like book multiple events so I could afford this functional doctor.
Mhm.
But I am at peace knowing that God is going to provide those clients, and God is going to provide the funds for this. And it's really more this season of what is God doing individually in each one of us during this season, that we could still stand on his promises and his faithfulness. And I know that, and I already see it. I see how he's working in each one of us, in our faith, in our relationship with him, and how we're just drawing closer to him. Because like, I mean, he has our lives in his hands, and he wants better for us. um but yeah, it's definitely a journey.
For sure. And
Mhm.
I think that it's just hearing that, I think of, ups and downs that were happening like personally in my life alongside business and
Yeah.
alongside other things. And, I think we live in a world where we think about like juggling it all, but sometimes it's about being able to release, and it's about
Yeah.
learning how to, and the waiting part is the hardest. Like waiting is always the hardest. And I am somebody who God has had to teach me patience over and over and over and over again because it does not come naturally to me.
Mhm.
And I just think that you are so incredible to be able to stand so firmly in your faith that that is always what you go back to. So to bring
Totally.
to sort of bring the whole thing full circle, for the mama listening who maybe is in a season of waiting or in a season of like personally things are in a very tough place, whether it's with their kids, whether it's with themselves, with their family or partner, um, but they feel a calling on their heart, right? They feel that there is a purpose or an opportunity they're supposed to take, and it's weighing on their heart, but they're in a really difficult season. What is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Mm. um I think is it's giving yourself grace that the season that you're in is not going to last forever. And it's going to come to an end at some point. So in that season, like what is God trying to teach you? What is God trying to draw you close to? Um, and just seek him for strength during that season. A lot of times we run away from the season that we're in, thinking that the next season is going to bring us joy and contentment, and that that's going to be our answer. But we miss the just what God is trying to teach us in the season that we're currently living in. So just ask God, like, what are you trying to teach me in this season while you prepare me for the next one?
That's incredible, incredible advice. And I think we could all extend ourselves a little grace
Absolutely.
in every area
Absolutely.
of life.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
every area of life. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for being
Of
here
course.
today and for sharing your story. And you are not the first person to cry or to make me cry
Oh my God.
on here. So don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
And for all of you mamas listening, if you would like to follow Stephanie and her journey, we will put social media links in the description so that you can connect with her. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you soon.